Without so much as a warning, life hangs in the balance.
Oh my God!
Human endeavor turns to chaos.
Oh my God.
And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. Over the next exhilarating half hour, you're going to witness some of the most mind-blowing destruction ever recorded. You'll watch a locomotive smashing encounter with an 18-wheeler and experience a spectacle of a 4-story building toppling to the ground. It's TV taken to the extreme when things are destroyed in seconds. Across the United States, there are close to 140,000 railroad crossings. In the state of Illinois alone, there are nearly 10,000. Despite the danger, drivers often ignore warning signs and train horns in hopes of beating the train across the tracks. On the outskirts of Chicago, one railroad crossing is particularly perilous. Cars stuck in the intersection come dangerously close to being rammed by the oncoming train. Luckily, the traffic light changes in time, and the potential for disaster is prevented. But not all drivers are as lucky. As a train approaches the intersection, an 18-wheeler decides to try to make it across. It looks as if the truck is in the clear, but the line of cars backed up at the traffic light forces it to stop as a 118-car freight train bears down. Although the engineer hits the brakes, it takes an average freight train over a mile to come to a complete stop. This train only had a few yards. The truck jackknifes and plows into the vehicles in front of it. The impact is so strong that cars are literally stacked on top of one another. In all, 8 cars are damaged, but thankfully no one is seriously hurt. Because trains are so large, they can appear to be traveling slower than they actually are. This illusion fools many drivers into thinking they can make it when they can't. Del Mar, California, July 4th, 2001. Bubba Blackwell will attempt to break his own world record by jumping his motorcycle over 22 cars. How did Bubba end up like this? The soil on the racetrack has been loosened to accommodate horse racing. The fine topsoil causes Blackwell's back tire to lose traction as he accelerates. As he approaches the launch ramp, he loses momentum. He comes up too short. His bike lands with such force that it cracks the surface of the landing ramp. Bubba lays unconscious as EMTs try to coax some sign of life from him. Every rib is broken, as well as his right shoulder and 6 vertebrae. His spleen is ruptured, and his pelvis is shattered. Ironically, the loose topsoil that caused the crash also cushioned Bubba's fall, most likely saving his life.
By golly, after 42 broken bones, and I thought I'd never even so much as walk again, so much ride a motorcycle.
8 months later, he's jumping again. Today, many consider Bubba Blackwell to be America's greatest living daredevil. Each year, vintage dragsters show up at the Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California, to compete in the March Meet Top Gas-fueled drag races. As driver Bill Birch gets his 1941 1,500 horsepower Willys into position, he knows he needs to go all out if he's going to make it to the finals. The light turns green. The racers gun it. Suddenly, Bill loses control. Both cars get a great jump off the starting line. But 800 feet down the track, Birch veers into the other lane. He tries to recover, but as the car takes a hard left, it hits the guardrail at over 100 miles per hour. After 11 rollovers, the fiberglass-bodied Willys finally comes to a stop. Birch is slumped inside the reinforced roll cage. Rescue workers and spectators rush to his aid. An inspection of the track reveals that moisture from a previous day's rain is coming up through small cracks in the asphalt. The dragster just can't get enough traction on the slick surface. The $100,000 car is completely totaled, but thanks to a roll cage and other safety equipment, Birch walks away with only a concussion and 2 badly broken fingers. Fire crews arrive at a raging fire in the old downtown district of Paris, Texas. A furniture store is completely engulfed. Fearing the blaze could get out of control, the chief warns his crews to keep a safe distance.
John, it's probably close enough right in there. Don't want to get too close to this because he very well could move back to those buildings where you're at.
As the fire's intensity increases,
I'm getting a lot of heat all the way back to where I'm at.
the building's structural supports begin to deteriorate. Moments later, a portion of the building collapses. Then, the entire northwest corner crumbles. Firefighters worry that surrounding buildings may be at risk.
You could have set front wall collapses. It's going to get those guys on that blitz. But you guys out front, did y'all hear that with the blitz and all? You might want to back up some.
Engine 2 is about to realize that the situation is far more dangerous than they imagined.
Do you need extra help there, Billy? What can I do? If we can get another 2.5-inch line or something on the west side down there.
The blast is so powerful, it snaps a telephone pole in half and sends bricks and flaming debris hundreds of feet away.
That was incredible! Y'all all right? Huh? Are y'all all right?
Yeah, I don't think he meant.
Holy jeez!
Thankfully, the firemen followed proper safety procedures. They set up at a 45-degree angle from the front of the building, keeping themselves out of the path of the blast. At dawn, the fire still burns, and the scale of the devastation becomes clear. Investigators were not able to determine what caused the explosion, but thanks to properly implemented safety procedures, none of the firefighters were hurt. Oregon's Mount Hood. Today, rescuers fight to save 6 climbers who survived a chain reaction fall on this 11,000-foot peak. A Pave Hawk rescue helicopter arrives to fly the injured to a hospital 50 miles away in Portland. The thin air at this altitude makes hovering increasingly difficult. And it's not helping that the winds are gusting up to 40 miles per hour. A violent shift in wind causes the rotors to lose power. As the helicopter wobbles, the pilot steers away from the people below. The wreckage rolls down the mountain. All 6 crewmen are thrown out, then steamrolled by the 16,000-pound aircraft. After tumbling nearly 1,000 feet, the chopper finally rolls to a stop. The $15 million Pave Hawk is destroyed. Investigators believe that if the crash was in the morning, when the snowpack was hard, the crewmen would have been crushed by the chopper. But since the snow had softened during the day, their bodies were pushed beneath the surface, and the helicopter rolled over them. Thanks to a quick-thinking pilot and a quick-thawing snowpack, the crash resulted in no fatalities. Business in Surat, India has come to a standstill. Crowds gather by a downtown building that appears to be on the verge of toppling over. Large cracks are visible where the building is pulling away from its foundation. The complex has been leaning for 2 days. Now it seems to be tipping more and more by the minute. The 4-story building finally tilts to the point of no return. And gravity does the rest. Spectators keep their distance as the building flattens a tree and a light pole, then slams onto the street. When the dust finally clears, emergency crews move in to douse a few isolated fires. Now all that's left to do is clean up the mess. Investigators blame the 25-year-old structure's collapse on 3 things. A weakened foundation caused by a recent flood, the weight of the heavy billboards on the roof, and shoddy construction. Whatever the final straw, this collapse could have been much worse. Because there was plenty of notice, the building was completely evacuated. Maple Heights, Ohio.
What's that? That pole went up right in front of me. Look at, oh my God, look at it. Oh my God.
Minutes earlier, firefighters rushed to the site of a natural gas leak and order mandatory evacuations.
We have to make sure everybody's evacuated out here. Take all the people that you can to middle school.
A 20-inch gas line and a water pipe were accidentally cut by a construction worker. If the gas ignites, it could set off an earth-shaking explosion.
Get out of the way, everybody back up, back up. We got flames from a telephone pole. I understand, everybody stand back, get back.
That pole went up right in front of me. Look at, oh my God, look at it. Oh my God.
Get out of the way, everybody back up, back up.
The natural gas, which is 87% methane, ignites when it comes in contact with the electrical power pole. And moments later, the flames reach 150 feet high. The blistering heat is felt hundreds of feet away. Now it's the firefighters who have to evacuate themselves.
Get out of the way, everybody back up, back up. We need more manpower down here.
Both a police car and a backhoe are incinerated. The wind-whipped flames are so hot, they even crack the windshield of a fire truck. The gas lines are finally shut off and the fire dies down, but the damage is done. Nearly half a block is destroyed and hundreds will be without power for the rest of the night. But fortunately, no one is injured.
Look at, oh my God!
Wentworth Valley, Nova Scotia, January 1994.
Holy smoke.
A period of mild weather melts the frozen Wallace River. Ice and snow turn the river into a churning torrent. In some areas, the ice chunks cluster together to form makeshift dams. And as the water backs up, it threatens to flood cottages that line the banks.
That's the river there, and that's the meadow over there. Holy smoke.
A local resident is videotaping the flood when he spots something large moving down the river.
Oh my God.
The cottage owned by Ed and June Dix. The two-bedroom building was swept off its foundation a few miles upstream. Onlookers are helpless as they watch the cottage being swept straight into the Wallace Bridge.
Listen to the siren going.
The wood-framed building is no match for this span of steel and concrete. And what remains is swept downstream. Thankfully, the Dix family weren't in their cottage when it was swept off its foundation.
This was where June and Ed's camp sat yesterday.
The shed that was behind it still stands.
Little shed stayed.
But all that's left of the cottage is stuck on Howard Bridge. Wilmington, North Carolina. This southern port city, founded in 1839, was a stronghold for the Confederate Army during the Civil War. A period actors often recreate for tourists. Today, workers are in the process of replacing a Civil War monument. Things get off on the wrong foot when the several thousand-pound monument swings into some power lines. Fortunately, no injuries or damage occur. Moments later, workers make a second attempt. But the granite slab seems to be too heavy for the crane. Workers scramble as the crane teeters on the verge of collapse. The crane topples over, dropping the monument onto a trailer. It rips through electrical lines and tears down power poles. The collapse was caused by a failed support system. Legs, called outriggers, were not fully secured onto the ground. As the crane's cab recoils from the impact, the operator tumbles out through a broken window and walks away without a scratch. But the crane, two power poles, a car, and a wall, originally built in the 1840s, aren't so lucky. The monument itself isn't damaged, and it's eventually put in place after a new crane is brought in. I'm Ron Pitts, and we'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.